Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah, we came a long way, and that's what the songs say. And I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah, I can do all things.
Hey, Love Your Life family. Welcome back to another Loving Your Life podcast. It is your sis, Crystal. I am here back at you today with another Loving Your Life discussion. I'm excited to be here with you. Man, it has been a weekend over here with us. And so as you can hear, I'm solo today. My hubby, my babe, my boo, he is holding it down with the kiddos so that I can come in here and have a conversation with y'all today. So, man, I hope all are doing well. Your sis has had such an incredibly full weekend, having to process through a lot, utilize a lot of the things that we talked about in our discussions. So it's been good. Not every part has felt good, but it has definitely, been challenging. Challenges, as I have always conveyed to you all, are definitely a good thing. Not always a comfortable thing, but definitely a good thing. It pulls us out of our comfort zone, and I have been out of my comfort zone this week. I've had to have some conversations that require being naked and unashamed, which is valuable because that's the breeding ground where you give birth to a lot of beautiful things. And so we've seen some beautiful things birth this weekend, and the coming and closure to a couple of other things, which is also beautiful. And so I just want to encourage you all to keep handling your business, doing your thing. But I definitely want to just discuss with you all, as I've really had a heavy weekend here, coming fresh off of dental work, and I don't know about y'all, but I've conveyed before, I think I would rather deal with labor and contractions than nerve pain in the face from dental work. It is no joke, no fun at all. There's no way around it. So your sis is kind of on the tail end of doing that, so bear with me if I'm pausing. It's still hurting to talk, but you all mean a lot to us, and so definitely going to hop on here and let's talk. And so one of the things I've been thinking about is this scenario around balance. Schedules, things have been disrupted this week, in a major way. So for us, I've had to take a look back at, am I setting unrealistic expectations? Because some situations have changed for us. And so it made me go back to this whole scenario, the whole conversation around balance. Does balance actually exist? Is it a real thing, or is it just something that we throw out there and then we fight for it and we can never find it? I believe that balance is a real thing. And I think the main issue is why it's such a frustrating thing or inconsistent thing that you may find yourself coming back to the drawing board to confront is because it is a struggle. Balance is a struggle, period. And there's a lot of reasons to why it's a struggle. I think one of the main reasons why it's a struggle is because we see other people's lives and see how they're doing things, and we want to mirror it. And that's not always the case for everybody. But it does play a part. It does influence each individual's household, depending on what your family makeup looks like. And that's different for everybody. So there's no one size fits all when it comes to balance. Hear me clear, ladies. Hear me clear, fellas. There's no one size fits all. If that was the case, I'd send me the information. But balance comes with, I believe, having an open mind and being ready to modify your life, adjust where adjustments need to be made. But I really want to kind of jump on, why do we struggle? Why is balance such a struggle? And I think it comes down to, have you really defined what balance is for your particular family makeup? What does your life look like? What are all the responsibilities that you have? How many hats are you wearing? Who's working? How many children do you have? What is your income? You have to look at what balance is defined for you in your particular family makeup. Wishing your life was a certain way does not bring balance. Or creating what you consider balance around what you wish your life was like does not work. And so truly being able to look back at your life, look at your family makeup, what are things looking like, and then truly defining balance based upon your lifestyle, your job, your hours, your income, your responsibilities. All of these are going to be vital to truly having balance in your life. Another one I think is, let's keep it real, not practicing self-discipline. Man, that's a huge, huge one. Because we live in a world, if you're here in America, I can't speak for other countries, but definitely here in America, there is a habitual problem of being in a rat race and constantly running to this and to and fro and dropping this person off, picking this person up, got to go pay this bill, need to go mail this off, and I can go on and on. But there is a lot of problems with practicing self-discipline. So you have to always go within. You can't blame other people for the decisions that you make. Yes, people influence your choices, but at the end of the day, the decision is made by you as an individual. I'm not speaking about children, obviously. They don't have that authority, depending on parents, auntie, uncle, grandmama, grandpapa, whoever's raising them. But let's have a mature conversation, adults. When you get frustrated and things aren't working out and you feel like you've lost control over your life or your schedule, it always goes back to, okay, where's discipline? Have you lost self-discipline? And it's a huge part, and it feels good when you can truly scale back your schedule and say, hey, you know what? I haven't been disciplined in paying my bills on time. I haven't been disciplined in getting proper rest, because these are all the things. Rest is a huge one. It's hard to bring discipline to your life when you don't have rest. You don't have the mental capacity to even sit down and think about, okay, where do I need to have some self-discipline? We run to the quick stuff to make us feel better. We binge watch on Netflix or Hulu or Prime, Amazon Prime, whatever your favorite TV show is, because you can check out. You don't have to think about a whole lot. And so then you look up, and because you didn't discipline yourself, it's like, I didn't do this. So self-discipline is a huge one. It's definitely, when you're self-disciplined, it helps you to develop the tools that will help you to feel on top of things. Without self-discipline, we often we waste time, we procrastinate, and then now you look up, you're overwhelmed and you feel guilty and totally unbalanced. So self-discipline is going to be a big, big one. Another one is just lack of consistency. Nothing changes without consistency. And you have to sit with that for a minute. If I don't consistently get up and shower, eventually I'm going to stink. Let's just keep it real. You want things to look and be a certain way. Be consistent so that you don't start stinking in other parts of your life. That's really what it is. Yes, I'm using that as an analogy, but anytime something is left undealt with, is going to start, the ugliness of it, the stench of it is going to appear eventually. And so you have to develop a level of consistency. Anywhere that you see consistency, you'll begin to see change. You see that muscle being strengthened. You see that area of your life that's fortified, where something's not able to easily tear it down. And so this goes to our relationships. Are you consistent as a mom? Are you consistent as a father? Are you consistent as a sibling? Or are you flippant? You kind of ride the wave of your emotions, and nobody knows who they're going to meet each day because you're not consistent. And so it goes back to looking within and not sabotaging yourself of the fruit and the benefits of consistency, because it's work. Being consistent is work, but once you stick with it, it becomes a habit, and you want healthy habits in your life. Healthy habits help to create good, healthy balance. And so I could go on and on with this whole lack of consistency. It touches so many areas of our life. So try to create consistency around the way you take care of yourself with food, exercise, sleep, relaxation, all of these areas. And it has a domino effect. It spills over into other areas of your life, and it's crucial. It brings you a level of peace which we all desire and need in order to function. And when your mind is at peace, your body's responding better. You're not dealing with a lot of chronic illness, so on and so forth. And again, I'm just touching on some of these suggestions, and we could truly unpack them all one at a time. Another one is plan ahead. It's okay to be spontaneous about certain things, but then there are some vital things that it's important that you get somewhere, be still, and plan ahead about your future, your finances, your health, your relationships. Come together as if you're married. You should be consistently coming together. I encourage it. I don't get to tell other people what to do, so excuse me for saying you should, but I suggest coming together monthly, having conversations where you're planning ahead, because life hits, stuff happens, things that are out of our control. Moods change. All of our experiences are different. I don't know what my husband's going to experience at work tomorrow. And so we may have planned ahead for the week what we're going to do, and we have to modify and adjust because something occurred, or vice versa. Something may have occurred on my end, and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this. And what does that require? An open mind. And when you are consistent, planning ahead, keeping an open mind, it eliminates a lot of unnecessary stress, which is a huge one. And so I want to jump on top of that. When you are in high stress, a lot of times we're in fight or flight mode. And so a lot of actions and words aren't coming from a healthy place. It's coming from a place of judgment, unable to hear our loved ones, our co-workers, employers or employees, whatever that looks like for you, with a compassionate ear. Also an empathetic ear. Sometimes, it gets out of the balance, and then you're seen as a consistent problem or somebody who's inconsistent. And it goes back to, okay, what does your stress management look like? And that's different for everybody. Some people manage stress in a very toxic way that's led to addiction. And like I will convey and always convey, no judgment, but I pray that you are able to get into a safe space to share this area of struggle and get the healing and restoration and truth on your situation to continue to bring balance to your life, balance to your perspective, which is the next one. Perspective. What is your perspective off kilter? Is it unreal? Because there are so many things that have shaped our lives, our experiences. You sit back, you look at your life, what you've been through, and then we all have our perspective, and then we take our perspective into our workplaces. We take our perspectives into our marriages, into parenting. And that goes back kind of to the one size fits all. Well, this is how I was raised. This is how we did it. So why isn't it working here? And that's when you have to tap into, okay, I need to open up my mind. This is one of those situations I have to be open-minded and be ready to modify. This is where the compromise, be willing to compromise your perspective. I'm not saying you throw away everything that shaped you, but being able to compromise and create your own toolbox within your family unit. It's not you throwing away the tools that you received from your upbringing, but you're just creating a new toolbox and adding new tools to it for your particular family makeup. And that's a good thing. You're creating your own traditions, your own things that are meaningful for your marriage, your relationships, your parenting, whatever your family dynamic looks like. And that's going to be crucial. And a lot of times we're sitting here and we're so stressed out. We're so overwhelmed because we're fighting the change that needs to happen. And if somebody raises a question or questions our frustration, we think that they're trying to control us or keep us from authentically being ourselves. And it really comes down to, how about you open up your mind and just see it from another lens and utilize the tools that somebody's trying to hand you, and whatever works, whatever doesn't. It's one of those situations where you eat the meat and spit out the bones. But we become so overwhelmed when we feel like somebody's infiltrated our bubble and our perspective and they're trying to push something onto us. And it's really a conditioning, if you fight change sometimes, and that's everybody to some degree fights change. We hate when our routes are changed up because of construction on the way to work. We hate when, we lose a boss that was a favorite boss that understood us. And then here's the promotion. And now you have all these new protocols and standards that you have to meet. But you like that pay raise. But you're like, I didn't know this was part of the package. And so as you remain consistent, balance comes to that situation, but it's truly just the consistency piece that is crucial, and not giving up because something is difficult. And that directly ties into planning ahead. Anytime if you are living, breathing, listening to this podcast today, that means that you have an opportunity to continue to plan ahead. You plan for the unknown. What does that mean? That when hard times hit, you're not struggling and looking to the left or right, looking up and down, what am I going to do? But that you have something in your back pocket as backup for emergencies, whatever that may look like. If it's a layoff, if it's a change in relationships, how do you plan ahead for damaged relationships? By fortifying yourself, keeping your mind healthy. If your mind is already toxic and unhealthy, and then you lose somebody dear to you, God knows, what direction you can go in. But if you practice healthcare, a mental health care, where you're feeding yourself the information that you need that's going to fortify you. Because the one thing that we can't control is life happening. We can't control other people's choices. And we're created to be relational. We thrive when we're relational, and so we're connected to people. And so trying to avoid people or trying to avoid relationships that have depth to them, trying to protect ourselves is an illusion. And it actually really drives us into a place of isolation. And it goes back to, are you planning ahead? What are you doing now to strengthen your mind, to encourage yourself? This past weekend, man, it hit pretty hard, and I'd speak on it in more in depth, but it's a lot of personal stuff, and I love the people that I'm connected to. And so there's just a lot of stuff that has hit, and being able to truly hop on here and have a conversation with you all in the midst of a lot of stuff, it's as a result of practicing taking care of my mental health. Now, this is after processing. This is after being still. This isn't me getting some news and jumping on and having a conversation. No, I've had 24 hours to process. I've had 24 hours to share in my space of safety and in my community of safety, to process what I'm feeling so that I can continue to be consistent in what I'm called to do and make the impact. And then I will hop off and continue to process and do what I need to do to move forward. And I'm not perfect. There's no perfect human being. We're all flawed. And so to truly have balance in your life, it goes back down to being consistent, planning ahead, defining what balance looks like for you, and setting realistic expectations. And then a big one is take care of yourself. It's really hard to find balance when you're not taking care of yourself. And again, I have to convey this. That looks different for each individual. Some people they thrive under stress. I don't believe that's good. But you can't tell them nothing, and so, whatever that may look like for that individual, but taking proper care of yourself in order to truly be able to say, okay, this is what balance looks like for me. And so those things are very difficult to tap into and to find out or to gauge when you're not taking proper care of yourself. And so that goes back to being consistent with sleep, being consistent with your diet, being consistent with relaxation. Those are the top 3 that are going to help you pinpoint the areas to define what balance looks like for you. That's what helps you to have consistency in your life. When you don't have the proper rest, when you don't have the proper nutrition, when you don't have proper relaxation, it is almost impossible to have a level of consistency in your life. It's almost impossible to plan ahead without feeling flustered or getting so stressed out. But it boils down to those top three. And so we always have to go back to those top three. And I can't convey that enough. Just like I conveyed to you a little bit ago, before being able to even jump on and have an important conversation with you all, it took proper diet. It took relaxation. It took rest. It took healthy communication. All of these things that help you flush out so that you don't get in the trap of recycling toxic thoughts or inconsistent thoughts that don't flow well with you. And then you're trying to dictate your life or make decisions that are truly unbalanced. And so it goes back to, is balance a real thing? Can we truly create balance? And why is balance such a struggle? And so I really want to encourage you all to just sit back and to ponder on these things as I sit and I reflect on my own life, becoming a wife first, and then stepping into parenthood. It just seemed like something that was unreal, that I'm like, what is balance? How in the world do women do this? I'm sleep deprived. I'm about to fall over, and I love my baby and have to give all the attention that they need as a newborn. And then I'm looking at my husband and he's holding it down and taking care of the baby so I can go get in the shower. All those new things that hit your life and you're trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I miss date night. I just want my husband to myself, or vice versa, him wanting me to himself. And the reality was, it's like, okay, we got to get to the drawing board. Finding, okay, who do we trust to care for our children, where we can actually have a date night and have a peace of mind. Because sometimes date night is like, we're here, but we're thinking about our baby. And so you're truly not engaged in each other because it's out of balance. You're sleep deprived. You're eating when you can, what you can. And for some, that's very, very difficult. Some of our listeners have lost parents. They've lost the people that raised them, and they are trying to do life in a new community. They're parenting and like trying to figure out, okay, who is my support system? Who can I trust to leave my kids with? Because unfortunately, we live in a world where there's just a lot of evil, man. You can't trust your kids around. You can't trust adults around your kids. These are real issues that parents have to navigate through. It's scary. And that lion roars up in daddies, that lioness will roar up in mamas if something goes down with their kids. And so, trying to truly navigate through your life, figure out what balance looks like for you, while simultaneously making decisions that's going to protect your children, protect yourself. And so this is a heavy topic, and so I don't want to minimize anybody's individual circumstance. But it definitely goes back to looking at your life, defining what balance looks like for you. I don't get to project what balance looks like for anybody because I've managed it on my end. I can give tools, but my family makeup is different. There's certain things that we have to do to protect my health. As I've shared before, I have a pre-existing condition. So there's certain things that we can't do, certain places we can't go, or there's certain things that we have to plan way ahead to keep me healthy. And that's not the case for everybody's family makeup. Some people don't have children, and there's different things that they're capable of doing. And sometimes they're looked at as that their time is not of as much value because they don't have children, which is not true. And so it goes back to, again, define what balance looks like for you. Nobody gets to project what their balance looks like onto you. Secondly, self-discipline. It goes back to what are you doing? Going back, you have to look within. You have to acknowledge, okay, I'm out of balance here. I don't get the sleep I need. I don't eat right. I'm always yelling. If you're always a yeller, and you think that you yelling is a surprise to somebody when they're so used to your behavior, but you want a different result from them, they've become adapted to that behavior that they're getting from you. And so it's nothing new. And so learning to calm down, that's a whole nother discussion that we'll come back to. So again, that discipline, consistency. Action, you all. Comes back to action. Talk is cheap. You can talk all day. You can tell me you love me all day. Baby, I'm looking for the actions. And this is all ties back down to loving your life. This is what loving your life looks like. And another one, plan ahead. As I said, you have to sit down, discipline yourself. Life is not going to tell you, go plan ahead. Eventually, just running yourself into the ground does that. And nobody wants that to happen. Nobody just sits up and wakes up, I want to run myself into the ground today. But unfortunately, again, because of the whole rat race mentality, it happens by default. And then we get up and we're exhausted and we're mad at everybody. And don't want to take responsibility for the actions that weren't put in place to avoid that, keep that from happening. So again, consistency. And lastly, again, I cannot convey enough proper care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. It is crucial. And you taking care of yourself may inconvenience somebody else. And that's okay. It really is. It is okay to take care of yourself. And, I've had so many, probably hundreds, if not thousands of conversations with women, with men, with parents that say, I can't do this because it's going to affect somebody else. And it goes back to, you have to raise a question. Do you love yourself? You have to answer that question. Do you love yourself? If you do, then you have to move yourself up on that list of responsibilities. Or all the people that depend on you won't have you here. You won't be here. And that's not your end goal. And that is the outcome of living an unbalanced life. And so truly just take some time reflecting. I encourage you all to take some time reflecting on your life. Pause. This is what loving your life looks like. It's taking a pause and frequently pausing. At least once a week, taking a pause, checking yourself. What are you feeling? And paying attention to what you're feeling. Put your finger on whatever's on fire inside of you. Put your finger on it. Go in and water it. Take care of it. And allow healing and restoration to come to it so that you can maintain a level of balance, so that you can maintain consistency, so that you know when you need to pull back, you need to come up with a new game plan, because what you're doing worked 10 years ago, but it's not working now. And this can't happen if you don't stop the rat race. And so I want to encourage you all to love on you, love on yourself. It's not selfish to take care of you. The better we take care of ourselves as individuals, the better we can take care of those that we've been given to love. And so I want to thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Loving Your Life. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I love you. Yes, sis.
Shout to the city that raised me. Shout to the people that made me. I'm from the 80s. I don't think mumbling wavy. I grew up black on a Jay-Z. Maybe I'm crazy. I ain't been wondering lately. Feel like it's there for the taking. Feel like I'm good with the changes. Know who I am. And that's the most dangerous state.
Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.